All right, rocking and rolling again here. A podcast, your host Stephen Maxted, Marcus Hoch, rhymes with Coke.
You got it.
I'm even going to say the
It
acronym
does.
out loud so I get it right.
You got it.
Yeah, we're on another episode today. We're talking electrical eventually. We're going to start off by talking about my kitchen lights, though. As promised. You're like, what the
Let's
fuck?
do
Why are we starting off with this? So I had these
Right to
lights in my
business.
kitchen. Yeah, right to what I need done here.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm thinking. Well, my silly simple brain goes like, can we replace this with like a long term like LED that maybe is longer, given like this whatever the little stuff that's on the
Yeah.
ceiling in the kitchen, right? But
Yeah.
the yeah, these lights have been funny though, because what did we call them? What are they're fluorescent?
Fluorescent tubes. Yeah.
This is your language, not sounding so like I did know that, but I called them the other one, or I called them halogen. That's not right.
Halogens. Yeah.
I
Same.
my
Same.
only
Same.
my
They're
my the key words I know from your industry. Yeah,
yeah. They're
but
just not LEDs. That's all you need to know.
there we go. Yes, they're not. That's definitely
Yeah.
something that they're not. But they've been hanging on. I've been in this house for like 12 or 13 years now. 12
Oh,
years.
really?
I don't want to
Yeah.
overfork it, but yeah. And these lights once in a while will kind of go like a little like, like they're kind of they're
Yeah.
threatening death, and then they'll come back and
They're
they'll
on
be
their
like,
way out.
but this has been
Yeah.
happening since like year two. So I'm like, okay, I'll have to like, I think I've replaced light bulbs once the entire, and I think it was
That's it.
early on. Yeah. And then since then it's
Impressive.
been like,
Okay. So they've had a
well,
good
who knows?
run. It's time to go
Fantastic.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's
Well,
dated. So,
you've got my number, so give me a call
well, very,
anytime and we'll take care of them.
very, very timely. Like this literally just happened. I didn't even think about it until we were literally talking about lighting. I'm like, oh, right. I'm not even turning on my
It's
kitchen light
perfect.
anymore because it doesn't turn on. But yeah, I mean, it's neat to see them last that long. But I know that there's other little light fixtures that I have changed in the house that I don't know what the
Hmm.
package is, if this really is true all the way through, because it's like they put something on there. This light will last for like 40 years or something like that. Crazy. These LEDs or whatever it was.
Hmm.
Maybe it was only 20.
Hmm.
I'm maybe, making it go
Yeah.
higher than it is because I've had a couple coffees
No.
today. But yeah, that's what they claim. And it's just like this like flat LED thing goes like that. Twist basically
They
on once you figure out the things to do with your two arms up there and my
yeah.
shoulders get sore. But
They
yeah.
they do last a long time. And compared to those old ones, like there's just not a lot of moving parts. They're simple, they're efficient,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot to them. So when they're going, they're going.
Yeah. Well, that's we heard it here live, folks. Um, Marcus, I'm going to pass it over to you to chat less about my kitchen now and more about your
Sure.
business and just kind of warm us up to, what you're doing today and maybe just the start of how you got into it from your end of
Yeah,
things because you're an
absolutely.
electrician by trade and
Yeah,
you run a business and yeah, tell us
I
a little
do.
bit more about that.
Well, how far back do you want me to go?
Whatever you feel is important. Sometimes I start from pretty early back, but I don't know. Have you always wanted
Okay.
to do this?
No, so that's I kind of fell into it. It was a weird
Cool.
happenstance. I really didn't know what I wanted to do right out of high school, so I had zero interest in trades or in building or in anything construction related. I actually wanted to be a lawyer originally, and then realized how much reading and paperwork and how much attention that takes, and that doesn't jive well with somebody who has self-diagnosed ADHD and who can't sit still for very long. That's why you'll see me rocking around here because I get restless. But
Sure.
yeah, like went
Yep.
through 4 years, 5 years in university trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Had no idea. Kind of gave up on the whole academic career. Tried to make a career of playing hockey over in Europe, and that didn't go incredibly well. So got to travel around, got to see some cool people and cool places. And then I got back, and I was actually working for the True North Youth Foundation at the time, and they entered a long-term lease with the Rotary clubs to take over Camp Manitou out in Headingley. And
Cool.
part of that, so I was working with their like hockey schools and with the on ice like skill development. And when they entered that with Camp Manitou, they needed somebody to go in and kind of take over the camp. It had been sitting abandoned for like 2.5, 3 years. And there's just a lot of stuff in, you know, rough shape. So I went in there for about a year before we actually opened the doors and just kind of odds and ends fixed whatever I could and subcontracted out some stuff and kind of got a taste of everything on like a building maintenance side.
Yeah.
And we actually had a guy come out and he was an electrician. He did some work for us there. And him and I got along super well. I helped him out with some stuff, and I said, like, is this what you do day to day? Like, this is your job? He goes, yeah, like this is a pretty standard day for me. So
That's
it's pretty
sweet.
cool. I think I could probably do this. So
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe 6 months after that, I got in touch with a local company here in the city and started my apprenticeship. Loved it like since day one, and just started running with it. Yeah. So
that's
then
awesome.
business came along. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Um, I actually I finished my apprenticeship. I got my red seal, all my papers and everything, and then I was kind of thinking like, what's next? I have a tough time like personally with like, okay, I'm going to be in this job for the next 30 years and that's it, and I retire. So I was always kind of just chasing the what's next, what's next.
yeah,
And my brother-in-law and I were talking one night, and he's also doing his electrical apprenticeship at the same time, where he's playing football for the Bombers right now, and then doing his apprenticeship in the off season. So him and I were talking one night, and we had just finished doing a side job for some family friends. We said, like, why aren't we just doing this for ourselves? Like, we can do it. We can figure out the business side of it. We know the electrical, so let's just run with
totally.
it. And I
Very cool.
within 2.5 weeks, Haut existed and was registered, and we started running with it.
Very cool. That's such a
Yeah, thanks.
cool story. Very unique. I mean, everyone's story is different about how they get into business that's been on the podcast or I've chatted with
Hmm.
off podcast kind of thing. And um it's just so neat, just like firsthand experiencing meeting someone, asking, just in, being curious. I think that's the most
Hmm.
important thing that people can stay is curious. I mean, without
For
quoting
sure.
Ted
Yeah.
Lasso on my little coaster here, I think it just says
Fantastic show.
believe. Oh, I'm so glad I brought that up and you're aware of this, but I just have the
I
little
think
coaster that
I've.
says believe. But
Oh, it's
they always
incredible.
say be curious, right? On the thing, and it's interesting because there's not a lot of shows that are more like positive, forward energy.
Hmm.
And I've talked about
I
this
think
before.
it's
I've actually
actually
about this on a
be
podcast, but
be curious, not judgmental is in Ted
yeah,
Lasso. And that's like
yeah,
I try to that really stuck with me. And now,
yeah,
you get cut off on the road, and instead of losing it right away, you go, I wonder why that guy cut me off. And I wonder why he's having a bad day. It's a little perspective shift from Ted Lasso. So shout out Ted
yes.
Lasso.
Shout out to Ted.
Yeah.
um, is that show done now? They're done, right? So far,
Yeah,
or
unfortunately.
like it like wrapped up. Like maybe there'll be like a
As
spinoff or something. But
as far as I
yeah,
know, they let it run its natural course, and they didn't want to push it any further, which I respect. It's
yeah,
hard to top a show like Ted Lasso.
yeah, and keep it going. I mean, how many years is it going to be new that he's a coach coming from football into football,
Exactly. Yeah,
European
yeah.
football and stuff.
Football,
So
football. Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool. What a fun segue. I had a moment actually like that
Tangent.
yesterday. Yeah, well, that's the whole point, I guess. The
Yeah,
thing I
yeah.
yeah, actually had someone yell at me on my bike because road biking and stuff wasn't
Hmm.
anything illegal. But this lady just decided to yell at me. I was talking about it this morning with someone who I swim with. We train as well in the pool, and I was sharing that story with him, and he was sharing a story back about someone who literally stuck their like half their body out of the car one time to yell at him, and he's like, "Man, they must have had such a rough day." Like
Yeah,
you were saying,
yeah.
just like understanding psychology and what people might be going through, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's not you doing anything wrong, just someone else has felt like
Having a
they've
bad
been
day.
super wronged or something. Yeah, it's just like you
Yeah,
got to kind of
yeah,
be okay with that stuff. So,
for
anyways,
sure.
we're going all over
No
the place.
sense letting it ruin your day too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very true. There's Marcus, what? So you get into this thing, you go to
Yeah.
school, you're doing it now, you're running a business. This is life. What's one of your favorite jobs to do when you're on site, on scene, stuff
Oh,
like that you normally come across?
it's a great question. They're all so unique, and I think that's probably my favorite aspect of the trade is like is every day is different. And half the time we walk into situations where, somebody calls you and they say, "Hey, this doesn't work. Why?" And I always tell people on the phone there's, 60 different things that could be happening as to why it's not working. So
Right.
it's that aspect of it is super fun where we get to go in and kind of troubleshoot and like a big puzzle every day.
Mhm.
And then, like the residential side of things, we just finished a job recently for an incredible lady. She had a super unique, beautiful house in River Heights, like arched doorways and beautiful plastered feature walls and like beautiful home. And we did a full knob and tube rewire. So every device in her house got brand new wiring.
Huh.
And we managed to do it with cutting one hole in the entire house. And it's in like a very inconspicuous location. If you don't know to look for it, you'll never find it.
Cool.
And just like seeing her light up, and no pun intended, but just how
Yeah.
happy she was that her house is
Love it.
safe and that she's and that she's doesn't have to worry about it for the next 50 years potentially. It's like that's
Right.
my favorite part of it is helping out in
That's
that regard.
That's
Yeah.
very cool. And maybe just talk about that one specifically because the reason that that's an issue is that there's often those houses can't be insured or it's like way expensive to get them insured because knob and tube can cause fires or it has over time
Yeah,
because of the wearing down or whatever the
exactly.
thing is, the
Yeah.
terms. So,
Yeah, so the insulation on the actual wires, it's a totally different system. So nowadays
yeah.
you run an NMD cable, it's called, and that's in double insulated. It's super secure. It can withstand different temperatures and fluctuations. But
Cool.
knob and tube, it was individual wires run just free air, like through the walls, through the attics, anywhere they could get them. And when they wanted to make a new connection in there to add power elsewhere in the house, they would just cut the wire, strip it, wrap a new one around it, and then tape that up and keep going with it. So there's a ton of little connection points in there, and as that insulation on the
Yeah.
wire degrades, it just becomes super fragile. And then it was just
Yeah.
like perfect recipe where houses built in that era that used knob and tube typically used wood chip insulation. So you have a fire hazard in your
Right.
wiring, and then your house is just a big box of kindling that could go up at any second. So it's funny you say that because the
Yeah.
neighbor in River Heights, their house burnt down in the winter. So right
Oh,
around Christmas, whole house right to the ground in about 15 minutes. Fire department couldn't even stop it. They just kind of let it burn, and that was that. And
yeah.
that's what prompted this homeowner to call us and say, like, hey, I think I have a bit of this wiring and I want to get rid of it.
Yeah. I don't want to turn on the
Yeah.
lights until this is done, right? They're just like not touching
Basically,
anything.
yeah.
They're like walking around with little candles.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
jeez, that's
Yeah.
got to be a wake. Well, unfortunate for that neighbor though too, but
Yeah.
that's gotta suck. There's only
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's brutal. I mean, it's the hardest
Hmm.
part about that kind of thing. Was a couple of one I've heard this about like the fire situation before. Is it like I mean, although they are, it seems like they're trying to put it out. They're mostly just trying to contain it. And like if it does go out solid, maybe they save part of the house, but
Yeah.
mostly it's like don't let the neighbor's houses catch on fire or like other things
Yeah.
get more out of control. Is like part of the shtick there, which is hard to swallow for a lot of folks. But there's it's too
Yeah.
bad because there's I mean, at the end of the day, okay, whatever. It's not that diminishing or whatever. That would super suck. But there's always uh, I was going to call them non-negotiable. I don't know the stuff that you can never replace, though, right? Like it's just like the little
Oh,
sentimental, like
totally. Yeah.
photos, old whatever family stuff, little things that you just like that you can't replace that get lost. The
100%.
rest of
Yeah.
it usually can be, but that's the part
And
that
not
always
only
sucks.
that, like the memories in your home too. Like
Right?
you raise kids in it, you raise a family in it, and to have all that
Yeah,
just gone in under an hour, it's yeah,
tough.
it'd be a horrible situation. So long, long, long story short,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think that's my favorite
Back on
part.
track.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's my favorite part is, meeting these
yes,
homeowners and being able to help them out and, give them safe, reliable wiring for years to come where, you know,
cool.
she texted me the next day saying like I can sleep sound tonight. I'm so happy. And it's that aspect of it is for sure my favorite.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Mm.
Do you ever get to work with new builds at all, or the construction side of things, where there's maybe like less things to go through and replace? Because I'm sure that's maybe a little
Yeah,
bit easier to work with than like pulling out old wire and figuring
for
out how to get it
sure.
back to the plugs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we do a little bit. There, a lot of the home builders in the city here, they kind of have their favorites already, and It's really tough. That's one side of business that, I naively thought, naively, is that a word?
I think so. We're guessing today.
Okay,
Yeah, you and me
we'll
both.
roll with it. I
Yeah,
naively thought it'd be, easier to get right into that, new build
yeah,
space, and it's presented some challenges. Of these guys have worked with electricians for 25 years building homes, and they know what they're getting, they know who they're working with, so it's a bit of a tough space to kind of push your way into. We've
yeah,
started a little bit, and we're working with a couple of really good contractors and home builders in the city, where we get to do some stunning, like, custom one-off homes, and really some unique wiring, and those ones 100 times easier in terms of, we get to get in there
yeah,
when it's just a shell, and we can put stuff exactly where we want it. We're not bound by what's already in place.
yeah. That's got to be dramatically different. I know just from doing like a little bit of home renos and projects and stuff like that. Maybe for someone who
Yeah.
doesn't think like that, this is kind of hard to picture, but I'm just imagining studs and no insulation.
Hmm.
There's nothing in your way. You can just like go through, and I've done very little limited in this space. It's not my area,
Yeah.
but seen enough of it
Yeah.
where you can appreciate what you guys do and understand it'd be easier to do it on the new
I
build there. But
appreciate that.
yeah, well, I think that part of that
Yeah.
is just sometimes there might be a little bit of a gap too for but people like understand they're just like, oh well, they make it look easy. It's easy. That happens I think all the time with professionals. And you're like, well, yeah, but it took
Yeah.
me, like a couple years of school. I, observed this stuff, like worked on
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
projects. This is actually like 10 years of
Yeah.
doing this stuff to make me be able to replace that,
Totally.
switch and that wire and that light and whatever else. So, that
100%.
quickly
Yeah.
because, you're really efficient at it. But how about,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some weird, not that I was looking for my own place with like kind of some kind of crazy light fixture, but
We're just segueing this into more work now.
yeah, more work. So we'll bring it back to my projects, but not
I
not really
also
my
want to do
projects.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a guy in real estate I cycle with and stuff, and he was telling us about this
Okay.
house that he had for sale. And there's this like really overzealous like chandelier thing or whatever that's in this house or whatever, and it's like that. I guess that was the industry that they're in, or they I don't know, maybe it's a family thing. I have no
Yeah.
idea, but
They liked
if
it.
you're
Yeah.
there's something that's like it's I don't know. I don't think it really adds too much value to a house. I could be wrong. I'm not a realtor, but there's do you ever work on really expensive lighting fixtures ever?
Yeah.
Have you ever worked on one where you're like, don't drop this thing? Like
We've
this
done
is a lot.
yeah, we've done a couple specific, like with the company I was with before, we've done some very, very high end, like custom one-off cabins where they're helicoptered together, and it's like
Cool.
it's a bit of it's a whole totally different world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen like custom hand blown glass light fixtures that are, $120,000 US, and it's you spend the day just assembling and making sure it's absolutely perfect, because it's definitely
Yeah.
nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah. Because like, what
Yeah.
if you break that, um,
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever, or if it
Like,
comes, I don't know. That's got to be wild.
yeah. Yeah, it's like it's a
Yeah.
scary thought that you're hanging a light fixture that, even if I sold my truck, I wouldn't be able to pay for it tomorrow. So
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, it's a
wild.
different world. Anytime someone is building something and they have to bring in a helicopter, that's a big project. That is,
Yeah.
no
Yeah, it's
matter
a
where you
serious
are,
project.
yeah, shit
Yeah.
is going down there. This is really happening, but yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of wild to think about. Hey, just like that on a light fixture. I don't know if I could ever wrap my head around that. I still
Mhm.
think I'd be like going to like Rona, even if I had made it. Maybe in the future, I'd be like, "Hey, where's those
Yeah.
LEDs? I got one for my kitchen a few years back. I had this
Yeah.
guy on a podcast. Do you have a
Yeah.
bigger one of that?
Yeah.
Can I hang
I
it
just need
from
a different
something?
style. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needs to fill this giant room that I've purchased
Yeah.
or whatever. I just don't think I could ever wrap my head around that. But
No,
it's good
like,
that some people can afford it and do it. That's neat. So, yeah,
all the power to them. I'll happily put them in any day, but I
yeah,
also, like, I've seen them, I've experienced them, I've wired them, and it's just, you know,
yeah,
to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I'd rather spend that in a lot of different areas.
yeah. Did the light look good though when it was in? Like
Looked great.
the
Yeah.
lighting?
I'll send
Yeah,
you I'll send you a picture later.
yeah. Sure, we should.
It'll look like just any other light to you.
Probably. I'd probably like, oh, can you not
That's
like melt beer bottles
fluorescent,
and
or
make
it's
this
not
thing?
fluorescent. Yeah.
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 Yeah, my extent on lighting is quite limited, but there's a lot of, I mean, well, the example of this house and this cabin that you're mentioning, like there's a
Mhm.
whole industry around making what we have for lighting. I mean, even I guess like right in front of me, these are LEDs. For sure, I do know
You
that.
sure? Are you
Like,
sure?
yeah, I'm pretty certain, and I think even in
Yeah.
a little light there, but they're it's such an important part of our life. Quite literally, it's everything that we do, and even changing some lights in my house to be different. Like, what is it called? Actually, I changed some a few years ago. I had a buddy do this in the basement there for my gym and into LEDs, and they're little like pot lights that just like go in, stick in. I don't
Hmm.
know. It's a floating
Hmm.
ceiling. Maybe he made it look easy again, but
Yeah.
not my area. But that lighting totally changed that room. It used to just be like one light in the gym. I thought it was totally bright enough, and you get that done, and you're like, oh,
100%. Yeah.
I wish I would have done this like when I first moved in here because it
Hmm.
makes all the world of difference. You don't even notice it as much at first, but you're just like used to living with it. But I think when you make
Yeah.
that jump to go make that like adjustment for better lighting, just like anything, we talked about this a bit on like podcasting here, is like you get
Hmm.
someone who's an expert in an area to come in and give you advice and and
Yeah.
service or product, it changes my workouts now for sure. I don't notice it much anymore now. I'm
Oh,
used to this
100%.
lighting. But yeah, for when
Yeah.
it first changed over, I was like, holy shit, this room is
Oh, it
bright. I
makes
can
a
see everything in it. I can see all the
yeah.
corners.
Makes such
But
a dramatic difference too, and that's something
yeah,
a lot of people don't understand is like there's different styles of lighting too. Like I love to use like incorporate smart home technology into projects where you can control if you do a full like smart system, you can control most
yeah,
of your house from either a tablet or your phone. You can set different moods and timers. So if you have those pot lights you're talking about, the recessed lights in your gym,
yes,
you can not fluorescents.
nice.
You can
Yes,
get
not
those
apps.
like set up into your phone so you can put them throughout your living room and you're hosting, a get together and you have it well lit and you guys are hanging out, but 3 hours later you want to kick back and watch a movie, you can dim everything right down and it's yeah, and
Yeah,
it's something I find that a lot of people just don't really think about. They think about cosmetics like paint and, you know, decorations and drapes and blinds, whereas like
yep.
lighting can make a massive difference in a house.
Well, I've experienced in that one room. I've looked at other rooms to do that, and I think probably will be a future project. Well, besides the kitchen, that obviously we'll talk about more. Just keep
Yeah.
banging it back in here. But like you're totally right. It does have a huge thing, even on like outside lights. I'm just thinking of little home improvements I've literally done since
Yeah.
being here or whatever, or these little
Yeah.
solar. I mean, this is now not in the house, not electrical, but these little solar ones that you can put on like your fence, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
whatever, just to like light up the yard and little like it's
Hmm.
crazy how much that can change an entire look. You're not walking around blind. We're not meant to see in the dark. Even as many carrots as I can eat, my eye
Yeah.
cannot see
Yeah.
night vision style.
No.
So it's probably a major. Well, obviously, it's a major part of construction, just having like the electrical piece in there. But lighting selection
Hmm.
is such a big piece of that in a home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I personally think it makes a massive difference. So, you know, you
yeah,
we encounter a ton of people who they think they want a certain thing, and then you kind of show them what's new and what's out there and what else we can do, and then they go, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
let's do that."
Yeah, well, even you mentioned the smart home thing. What kind of systems exist out there? I'm not familiar with this as far as the lighting goes, but I know I can control my furnace and AC or like we're heating, cooling, I guess,
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
a thing that's now in my house. I got upgraded a few years ago, and like the garage, which is cool, and that's
Yeah,
about as far
yeah.
as I've taken it. Besides having like Alexa
Hmm.
back in the day, and I don't have those anymore for just putting on music. But
Right.
like this lighting thing, like how often are people updating that kind of stuff, and what do those systems look like?
We're seeing it a little bit more. It's a bit of a steep step into it. Like the initial upfront cost is a little bit more because it requires, a little bit more attention to detail and some kind of back end
Yeah,
programming stuff. But they're making it so easy now. Like your phones all have, if you have an iPhone, it has a home app built into it. And if you buy compatible stuff, it'll just straight up work with it. You mentioned Alexa, like you can say, "Hey Alexa, dim the kitchen lights," and if it's set up properly, it's very consumer friendly. You can buy them at most of the box stores, and then we can do like full custom lighting packages. There you go.
like literally this thing. As you can see, my ring light in the background there. Anyways, sorry, I just pulled
That's
this up. That
LED.
is an app on my phone. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea this
So
existed.
if you, yeah, so that'll actually work through Siri, where you can walk in and you can say, "Hey Siri," if
Cool.
you have a like a home pod, the
Yeah.
kind of speaker that, you can just yell at Siri. You can walk in and say, "Hey Siri, turn on dining room lights," and your lights will turn on. You can kind of automate your home a very consumer friendly, relatively easy to use manner. And then we can do like full custom low voltage lighting packages where your traditional light switch would be in the basement in a big switch bank, and then we'll run different wiring to like multiple switch locations where you can have a single switch on your wall with up to 6 buttons, and that will do anything in your house. You can do touch screens with automated blinds, with lights, with music, with everything. It gets super fun.
That sounds really cool. And I just had this like snippet from a movie scene of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or like
Yeah.
The Purge when they're like
Yeah.
closing their blinds from like one, they're like, "Send, lock it down."
Yeah.
You're just like,
Yeah.
but if you're like, it's bedtime, all the blinds just like rolling
Yeah.
down and lighting. But I mean, you have to change anything. That's pretty sweet.
It's wild what you can do with home automation now. Like you can straight up tell your phone to close the blinds and lock the doors, and it will.
Yeah.
Crazy.
On the door thing's pretty cool too. I do like that aspect of
Hmm.
new door installs and stuff, having the little pad, whatever it is to get into a house. That's
Hmm.
super sweet.
Yeah. Anything
You're
to
like,
make life a little bit easier.
yeah. Hmm. That's very
Sounds like we
interesting.
have a lot of upgrades to do at your place.
This will turn into a sales call.
Your
I
one
love it.
kitchen
I
light's gonna
know.
turn into full
That's
automation.
how that's how renos go though, like that's exactly how it happens. I remember there's we're gonna do a shout out to an ex. I remember ex finder they're from Brandon. I remember her mom, lovely lady. It started off with like
Yeah.
a little kitchen reno and it turned into like a $250,000 reno. They like added on to the house like quite a bit and stuff. If they're listening,
Yeah.
they'd probably remember this moment and laugh at it too. But that's often how
Yeah.
renos do go though in general. It starts off as,
Hmm.
whatever and turns into so much more. And I could see that happening with this because you're right. I mean, why would you, I mean, you start looking at this as you just kind of described it there. And it's like, why wouldn't you have everything linked up to one part in your house if you're going to invest that money and if you're going to be there for a
Hmm.
bit? Maybe if you're not,
Hmm.
you don't want to, or sure, it could help with resell to the right person that sees that as an
Oh,
advantage.
for
But
sure. Yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
yeah, rentals always get carried away. But then you have it all done. I don't know. That's part of the reason that it does because you start thinking about it and you're like, well, do I want to just do one room at a time? Probably impractical and frankly easier for both parties to agree that you don't do it all at once. You're going to do it
Hmm.
in one room. Might as well do a few of them kind of thing. So yeah,
But
that's really cool.
they always snowball.
Yeah.
I've been a
What's it?
part of some projects that it was supposed to be some of these large commercial renovations. It's supposed to be
Mhm.
a 6 month, in and out. We'll get it done, new space for everybody to enjoy. And we had one it went 6 months. It turned into almost 4.5 years. Like just kept going and they kept adding more and
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
changed. And yeah, yeah, it gets, everything snowballs in renos.
yeah. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, because both are positive. You're getting stuff done that you needed done. You just didn't realize it. You thought you could just fix it with whatever. And I mean, that patchwork
Yeah.
stuff only goes so far, and then you become more mature in your thinking, probably, or you've done a couple renos yourself, and then you're like,
Yeah.
it's probably better to get it done all at once here. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe to just describe Marcus, like what kind of role? Because you're doing like residential. Sounds like you're doing some commercial stuff too. Is there anything that you guys like don't do it? Or there maybe a better question would be, is there an area that you really focused on that you do all the time, or is it just kind of everything's kind of happening out there?
Yeah, I mean, we're a smaller crew. There's four of us right now. We're hoping to keep expanding and growing. So right now we're primarily residential. Like I mentioned earlier, we're focusing on kind of some new builds, some renos, some rewires. I still love that like very personal aspect of homeowner to contractor relationship. And you really
Yeah.
lose that on commercial projects. You're
Right.
talking to a board of directors and takes 3 weeks for a decision to come back. Whereas, you can
Right.
go have coffee with a homeowner and really get a sense of what they want out of that space. So right now we're primarily focused on, residential rewires, new builds. And then we're sprinkling in a little bit of small commercial stuff when our calendar and when our workforce allows for it. Those are also great jobs. It's cool to And my girlfriend gets so annoyed at this, but every time we drive through the city, it's like, oh, I worked in there. Oh, I did that building. You see that light up there? I had to do that one. And it's cool to
Oh
work on
my
a
god.
project like that that, is a staple of Winnipeg and that's going to be there for hopefully the next 60, 70 years
We have
if the
time to
wiring is
talk
done
about.
right.
Yeah, well, we definitely have time to add this story in here. I just thought of this as we were chatting here and about you're describing all these projects. This is going to be a tangent, 1,000%.
Okay.
And that's really
I'm
cool
in
to hear
for
that
it.
you guys are. I was going to ask about electrical cars and upgrading houses. We'll do that after, but
Hmm.
this one's
Sure.
important. So
Yeah.
I went on this tour a few years ago at the Ledge. My mom used to work there. She worked in
Yeah.
government her entire most of her
Yeah.
career. And there's a light at the top that like goes on the Golden Boy. The only
Hmm.
way to get up there, or maybe it's changed too, is maybe it was a safety thing, but we went on this tour. You could like literally climb up this like little hatches, kind of like I don't think this is
Hmm.
not an advertised tour, by the way, but people worked there for a long time. There's this guy that was there for like 40 years. I don't even think that they do these tours
Okay.
anymore. You're able to climb up and basically be
Yeah.
like 10, 12 feet away from the Golden Boy. I hate
Oh,
heights. This was
cool.
quite the task to get up there alone. It was
Yeah.
pretty neat, and you could like
Yeah.
a bunch of people have like signed bricks and stuff inside of there. It's like
Oh,
if
cool.
anyone does get the opportunity, and now I'm like opening probably a can of worms for the Ledge. There, people are gonna want to do this
I'm
thing,
gonna
but
be I'm gonna be knocking
yeah,
on
we're
the
like
door tomorrow.
yeah, we're like hey, how do we do this tour?
Steven told me I could do this.
Yeah, we were. He was publicly said this. To get people watching the podcast more. They you go up there, and so I'm like shaking on this like ledge thing, and most people you're probably fine with heights if you're doing this your kind of industry thing, but I'm up there just
Yeah.
like kind of frozen, but I'm like smiling for the picture and stuff. Like
You're
this is
enjoying
cool,
it.
and
Yeah.
like it was kind of cool. I did have a moment where I'm like I felt stable, and you're up on this like little ladder though,
Yeah.
and then climb down. But the guy was telling us a story that did the tour there that it was like years ago, say like in the 80s or whatever. There was like some kind of like they had to get this light replaced, and there was like a standard proposal that went out, and they couldn't even get people to do it.
Oh,
And I
really?
think they had estimated that it would be like a 20 or 40, like they'd gotten these crazy quotes from people to be like, hey, it'll be
Wow.
like 40K to do that with all of our
Hmm.
equipment, rightfully so, that they probably
Yeah.
needed. So they were
Yeah.
expecting to pay, I think like I might be, because this is a story that I mean I could make up whatever number, but I think it was seriously like
A lot,
40K that people were
regardless. Yeah.
like giving them, and at the time too, like that's like
Oh,
that would
yeah.
be like I'm sure that would be more than well into six figures of what that value was for back then. But
Hmm.
nonetheless,
Hmm.
it's like a thing that they like have to. It's not like a whatever. So it's just trying to find someone to do this thing. And the last company that came out, I think, gave them like a way higher quote. And they're like, yeah, we for sure can do it. And it was like 60K or something. And they're like, okay, just get it done. And they showed up and they're like, yeah, no. Everyone showed up and was like, no, because you have to like literally
Look,
free
we can't.
climb out for a little bit. Yeah. And it's like, you're way up there. So there's no other way.
Wow.
Even with equipment, I guess, I mean, like, yeah, okay, like just if you fall, you're like strapped in, but you have to like get
Yeah.
out there and do a
Yeah.
little bit of free climb, even though you're, hooked from the
Right.
inside somehow.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
terrifying, even for these folks. They get these two younger guys come in and they're like, yeah, we could do it. And they're like, okay, just get it done. Just send us a invoice or
Yeah.
whatever after the fact.
10 grand.
And like, okay, this is funny. Guess how much? So these guys go out there, replace it. They like literally free climb the thing. They just go out, do it. Two younger guys, and they're like 20, let's say.
Yeah.
They come in, whatever, and then they end up getting an invoice from them. What do you think it was?
It's either going to be astronomical or like $75.
Okay, more than 75, not astronomical, but
Yeah.
it is on the lower end. It was, yeah.
So like 8 grand.
Okay, so these guys sent them an invoice for like $1,800. And it was like I guess
That's wild.
they're like two of them. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, we made $900 each or whatever on it. I'm sure that was their
Yeah.
math, given how the story was described. And it's
Probably
so funny
took
in
them a
business.
couple hours and they're laughing.
Yeah, I think they literally were like, it was
Yeah.
more like like an hour and a half, and they were just like in and
Yeah.
out done. And then this guy's just like, okay, well, whatever. He's just the main. He's in charge of it. Yes, he has some control over this thing, but it was like I said, there's a checklist of stuff. Property maintenance just has to get done in those situations. And
Yeah.
then hearing the story from him, I'm just like, that is the craziest story ever. Like these guys, if they ever found that out, like years later, they're still in the business out of it. And they're just
They
like,
could have made 75 grand instead of 1,800.
100%. Well, it reminded me of
That's
like Dumber and
hilarious.
Dumber when they're.
Yeah.
Do you remember the bus scene when they're like, we're looking for two young guys, whatever the
You go to the next town. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they stop
Yeah.
and they're like, whoa, we are idiots. The town's that way.
That
That's
way.
like, yeah. That's what I thought of. Like,
Yeah.
not to make fun too much light of these guys. I'm sure that they were skilled enough to go out there and free climb this thing, which is
Yeah,
nuts.
it's impressive.
I've heard
I
that
bet you they had a
similar.
great night on Osborne Village after that.
They probably went out, yeah, right down the strip there, right? Or whenever they got
Yeah,
their invoice paid.
just
Guess what we
walked
did?
over. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are like those crazy situations where there's like towers and someone I've seen whatever they go up and change a light bulb and they
Hmm.
paid a crazy amount of money to do that, and that's like their thing. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen those clips online, given like your industry and
Yeah,
stuff. Have you
there's
seen
a
like
meme going around that a guy, he's paid $40,000 to change that
yeah
one bulb on the, and it
yeah
said like I would forget the light bulb at the bottom or something.
yeah climb?
Yeah,
Oh man, yeah, that would be the worst. I personally would not be
yeah,
able to do that. I would be yeah. I don't. It wouldn't matter.
yeah.
I would get
I,
stuck. They'd have to
not
come and like
super
rescue
comfortable.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'd have to just I don't know,
yeah.
turn off your brain. Yeah, I don't know.
There's
Put
some
blinders on
there's
so I
some
can't like
long.
look down. Like just like I
Yeah.
can only look. That's actually like a real thing. Like if I could like
Horse
just control my
blinders, yeah.
eyes. Yeah, yeah, just like this for climbing. Can you
Until you
imagine?
see the horizon like way off, you can see Saskatchewan from up there, and then you're scared again.
I just made a post about that. I used to go up with farmers just to continue dialogue with them, and I used to climb grain bins. Usually, if the really big ones would have stairs, so it
Just
was
to
like
hang
less
out.
terrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah, just to keep
yeah,
talking to them. They'd be like, "Okay, well, come with me.
yeah,
We gotta go check this grain or whatever." I go climb up this thing, and I'd be like, "Holy shit, play it cool,
yeah.
bro!" Like pretend like you're just walking down any set of stairs. As soon as you turn around, you're like, you can see through them. They're all graded, right? It's not like they're
Yeah.
whatever, but
And these
they're
guys are
just there.
flying up and down, and you're shaking on the staircase.
Oh, yeah. If those, yeah. Besides the fall would hurt, they would probably just like jump down if they could. But yeah, they're just like zipping up and down, checking them, climbing up on the roof. That's where the part where I'm just like, whoa, I'll just hang over here. Like I don't need to
I'm gonna stay on the
go up and
railing
look through the
here.
top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, legit. Anyways, back on
Wild.
track. That is a fun one.
Yeah,
Electrical cars, though, or a popular topic. Um,
yeah.
I've heard a bit about this, just in terms of like like the grid not being able to basically like handle it from like a big point of view. But I mean, like people do want these plugs in their houses and stuff.
Hmm.
Are you seeing much work in that avenue, or do you see it when you go to houses and stuff like that residentially?
Yeah,
Are people installing them? Yeah,
yeah. EV chargers are there's I wouldn't say skyrocketing just yet. I think a lot of people are still apprehensive just with our climate, EVs and
yeah,
battery life, and cold doesn't do the cold doesn't help the batteries, let's say. It you lose quite a bit of range, in -40 and going
yeah,
through deep snow. So EVs are definitely on the rise though. Like I've seen that the price of the EVs have come way down now that there's a little bit more competition and it's not, just one main EV out there.
right,
And then the chargers are, again, you were talking about like Renault snowballing, where
yeah,
I've encountered a few times where people have bought EVs, they get delivered, and they go, oh shit, I need to charge this thing. And then they go buy a charger, and then they find out an hour and a half later that their panel can't handle it. So we end up having to do a
right,
service upgrade, and then you go buy an
sure,
EV and you think you buy a $1,200 charger, and it ends up being a $5,000 service upgrade. So it's a big jump to get into EVs, but the people who are doing them are absolutely loving them from everything I've heard. And it's
yeah,
your hydro is Manitoba Hydro is very reasonably priced. And if you can charge your EV for $35 a month compared to, $300 a month in
yeah,
gas, it's gonna add up for sure.
totally. I just think like the convenience thing of the whole scoop. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to go fill up with gas, but honestly, if I could leave my house and never have to worry about that, that'd be pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
So I totally get the allure of that side, and I don't have
Hmm.
um, EVs yet or whatever. I think it's neat, but also I
For
don't think
sure.
it's super practical, like
Yeah.
given our climate and stuff. But in theory, that'd be amazing.
Hmm.
You don't have to stop somewhere really. I mean, you have to worry about, I guess, like charging up in different capacities because
Yeah.
the range and stuff like that. But I do like, yeah, toy with that idea a little bit. I think it's kind of neat to be able to do that. I saw this service, I guess, energy related,
Mhm.
but it was like they'll come to your house and fill your vehicle up with gas or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that sounds maybe lazy, but like if you're like at the end of the day, you're traveling a lot with like
You're
work,
just yeah.
whatever your life is busy, then you're
Yeah.
like, hey, if I can push like an app book of someone to come and built my vehicle up. Sweet. It's kind of a neat service in a way.
It
I don't know
is,
if it'll
yeah.
always exist because we might switch, whatever. But I mean, we get other things delivered. Why wouldn't we get?
I'll come and plug your car in for
basically, yeah, supercharged in your house or whatever. But
you.
yeah,
No, I was just gonna say though, like you get groceries delivered, you get food delivered,
yeah,
you get dry clean, you get anything delivered, picked up nowadays. So you're, I could see that being a great service.
yeah. Could be neat. I mean, it would be neater if we were somewhere hotter, where like, what should we call it? Things that, oh my gosh, solar panels were like truly effective.
Yeah.
I know people that have installed them and stuff, and it's as much as we try, like you can face them south, we do get great
Mhm.
sunlight, but
Mhm.
for a good chunk of the year, you're not making any power out of them. So it's a
No.
neat, in theory, thing, but
Yeah.
it's not super practical.
And yeah, like southern states, and we got good desert sun all day. Like it for sure makes a lot of sense. It's just it's tough
Yeah,
in Winnipeg where you have in the winter we get sun for what 6.5 hours a day, if that.
yeah, yeah,
So it's tough to recoup that cost because again, like anything new, it's like that initial cost to get into it is still super high. Solar panels are great. Like I think they definitely have a place. It's just to have enough solar power to power your whole house and charge your EV or whatever else you might want to do with it.
yeah,
You're gonna need a lot of solar powers.
yeah. One like
Yeah.
I guess other things are popular too. I mean, we have like e-scooters. I have
Yeah.
one of those. Putting around on. One picked up groceries yesterday with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to do
For
it in
the
the summer.
environment.
Right? You're like, it feels like you're like a kid
Yeah.
again on this like scooter thing.
Yeah,
We've got
for
like
sure.
e-bikes,
Yeah.
and so there's way more need for
Yeah.
more plugs, more electrical stuff in general, right? I mean, if people taking that like seriously,
For
like,
sure. Yeah.
and like because well, I mean, even on those batteries, they don't go that far. I could probably make it downtown, I think, on one of those scooters, or the one that I have, and it's
Yeah.
like a faster one or
Mhm.
whatever it is. It was
Mhm.
Canadian Tire Costco, so like I don't know. Seems seemingly okay quality.
Mhm.
You still need to have a charger at the other end of that thing, so
Yeah.
you need your
Yeah.
industry all day long.
Yeah.
For whether it be for
I'm
scooters, bikes, cars, people,
I'm glad to
places.
hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, man. Was we almost didn't. We should fit this in here. We have a few more minutes. You
Yes.
have distracted with my storytelling here. Fitness, running, and business.
Yes.
Big part of everything we talk about here, and you are hosting an event coming up soon, and
We
hopefully
are.
this does well for timing and stuff. But tell us about the event, Marcus. What's going on? Why are you doing it? Where's the money
Yeah.
going?
So we are doing I'll give you the whole shebang. We are doing a 5K run slash walk in support of Winnipeg Pet Rescue Shelter. So the big reason we got involved in there is because my dog came from Pet Rescue Shelter about 3.5 years ago, and he's my pride and joy. So I wanted to do anything I could to try and give back to the shelter. They're some of the best people I've ever met in any city on this planet. They're truly just like
Cool.
angels walking among us. And we started a promotion a little while back with Haut where if you have a dog from the shelter or a cat or any animal from the shelter, and we come into your house to do any kind of work, we donate a portion of your invoice back to the shelter. Just love to go. Yeah, wait, I retract my earlier
Very cool.
statement. My favorite part of the job is going to meet all the dogs and cats at people's houses.
Yeah.
But
Electrical work is just
yeah, exactly. That's the reason to be there. But yeah, so I just wanted to do literally anything possible to give back to the shelter and to help them out. So we were doing a 5K walk slash run, whatever you're comfortable
yeah,
with, at Assiniboine Park. So it starts in Cargo Bar. We've redirected our course a little bit, so that's 5K around the park. And then it's going to be a bit of like a little social aspect afterwards. So with your registration, you get a drink, you get a one-off poster from local artist here. I'm not going to say who yet, but super like one-off custom stuff. You get to be part of the event. We've got some incredible sponsors coming out. It should be a super fun day. It's like all day in Assiniboine Park. You get to go around, you get to pop print of your dog afterwards from that same artist if it's interest to you. We're gonna have some silent auction prizing. We're gonna have a lot of people there, I hope, and it should be a lot of fun.
Interesting. I'm just looking. How do people register for this, by the way? I was just going to write this down.
Registration's not open yet, but it will be
Okay.
linked on our website. It'll be linked on Pet Rescue's website. We will have a website for it. We're just finalizing everything like this week. And then Run for Rescue 2025 will be on September 14th. So Cargo Bar, Assiniboine Park, it's going to be a blast. And I hope a lot of people can make it out to that.
Awesome. I hope that they can too. And they will plan to be there. I think that works in the schedule. I'm literally signing up for myself through between episodes. I've read the last episode. I was talking like a run and stuff, and I'm like, am I here? I'm saying I am on the podcast. I'm pretty sure. Around for that. I think I have a few runs or walks. September seems like it's a back to school, back to way more events, right? Everyone's kind of back from cabin country in the dog days of summer. No pun intended on that one.
Good one.
But
that's the hope, is that people will be back in the city and available to make it. And we're doing it on a Sunday, so hopefully even if you're out at the cabin on the weekend, you can still be back in time for it. It should be a lot of fun.
No, it's awesome. It's cool that there's more purpose behind what you're doing.
Appreciate that.
That's the last thing we talk about here. But everyone's got like a really cool why if they're in business. It's never just like, usually not anyways. People are not leading with like, I want to make a lot of money. It's like, hey, I like doing this thing. Also, how can we like give back by offering this product or service, whatever we're doing in the process. So it's really neat.
Appreciate that.
Sharing good stories like this, Marcus. It's been great to recently meet you and then have you on the podcast. I'm pumped for next time to hang out and probably talk more about my kitchen around here
and all the other
smart lights. All the expansion. He's like, right, what we're doing here.
Hey, do you want to do it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
where we pull the trigger.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, man. This is really cool, and taking the time to hear about an electrical company that not a lot of people often want to hear about. So I really appreciate it.
That's sweet. Oh, man, you're an asset there. This is everyone is going to need your help at some point, unless they're doing it themselves and they're in the field, and they'll probably appreciate hearing.
Then they're really going to need our help.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Marcus. And
thank you. Appreciate it.